Hi everybody, Scott here from TimeSolv. In today's tutorial, we're going to show you how to make time and expense entries. You may have already noticed that when you first log into TimeSolv, you're brought directly to our time entry screen, making it fast and convenient to enter your time. On the left-hand side of the page, we have our calendar that will show you all the time entries you've made by day, total it by week, and then give you a monthly total. As a new TimeSolv user, obviously you don't see any hours on your calendar, but if we go back in our demo account, you can see what it looks like when you have different entries for various days, how it totals for the week, and your totals for the month. When you log in, the day of the week that you're working in TimeSolv will be highlighted in tan, and any entry you make will automatically be entered for that day. If you'd like to make an entry for a previous day, simply click on that day in the calendar, and now that will turn tan and the current day will change to a green color. All time entries that you make have to be done at the matter level. You have to have already created clients and matters before you can enter any time. There were previous videos that showed you how to do that. So simply come into this field here, and there's one of two ways to choose a matter. You can either double click and it'll bring up the entire list of clients and matters that you have, or you can start typing and it'll auto-populate fields based on what you've entered. As you can see here, we have the ABC Family Law Firm. There's 4 different matters we have for them. You would just choose the one that you're making the time entry for. And in this case, I'm going to do Litton Industries and patent litigation. Our next field are the ABA task codes you could choose to associate with this time entry if you'd like. And once again, if you double click, you'll see the entire task code list, or you can start typing and it'll auto-populate based on what you entered. The next field that you see here, the billable type, is not by default shown to all timekeepers. You have to have set that at the timekeeper level whether you're going to allow them to enter the time entry as billable, non-billable, or no charge. Then simply type in the hours that you are billing this entry for, and you'll see the rate is already pre-populated. That is based on either the default timekeeper rate that you have or a particular rate that you may have associated with this matter and this client. Then in the description field, this is where you can enter the custom abbreviations you may have created for your timekeepers or at the firm level. If you can't remember the abbreviations that you created, you simply come over here to this document icon and you can see the various abbreviations associated with this timekeeper. So in this case, if I type RRA and the space bar, the sentence review and revise patent application comes up. Perhaps that's a sentence that I use quite often when making descriptions and time entries. Then you just hit save and new. If you'd like to save and duplicate this and create another exact time entry for a different date, you would simply hit that button. And you can see our entry is down here below. You can always edit it right here, hover over this document icon to see a snapshot of what the time entry details look like. You can also start the timer here that you see and start accumulating more time for this particular entry. And then simply click on the progress bar to stop the timer, and you can see our time has been added to this entry. You can also start your timer right here in the web browser. If you are meeting with a client and you want to start tracking your time in real time, simply again, choose your client and matter, hit start timer, save and new, and you can see down here now the clock is running for this particular entry that you've made. When you're finished, simply stop the timer and you can see it's added 1/10 of an hour to our time entry. Let's now cover how we go about making expense entries. Simply come over here to our expense tab, and you can see this looks very similar to our time entry fields. We have our calendar here on the left hand side. You would select your matter and client. Any expense codes, we have the ABA expense codes listed here as well. Again, double click. You can scroll to find it, or you can start typing and it'll bring up your options there. Then you would simply enter the quantity of whatever it was that was purchased. Perhaps the price per unit was $50 and there was a previous agreement of a 5% markup. Our description field is just like in the time entry where you can use the custom abbreviations to enter descriptions. Then you'd simply hit Save and New. You can also create a fixed amount here. Just click on that Enter Fixed Amount link. And simply type in the amount, a description if you'd like. And you can see that it just shows you the total here. It doesn't give you a price per unit or a quantity. We should mention there are several other ways to make time and expense entries. We do have a mobile app for both iOS and Android users, so you can make time and expense entries on your mobile phone. We also have our TimeSync widget, which will allow you to make entries and keep track of time when you don't have a web browser window open. As you can see, our widget here is a smaller footprint on the desktop than having a web browser open. It allows you to have other documents open that you can still see. And you would just choose your client and matter like we did for our regular time entries. We click the play button and you can see we're now tracking time, and you can see exactly how much time has been tracked since you started. Simply pause it when you're done. Enter a description if you'd like. We can use the custom abbreviations just like before. And then we save that entry. It's important to note that this entry has not actually been synced with TimeSolv. The TimeSync widget can actually be used when you're offline if you don't have an internet connection. And the next time you are online, or to sync any other entries that have been made, simply come over here to this Entries button, and you can see the various entries that are waiting to be synced with TimeSolv. So simply hit Sync, and now that entry will be seen in the TimeSolv application. We should also note that if you've created any clients and matters since the last time you opened your TimeSync widget, you'll want to come to this entries and hit sync, even if there's nothing else waiting here, in order to bring any new clients and matters into this TimeSync widget. And that's going to do it for our tutorial today on how to create time and expense entries. As always, you can email us at support@timesolv.com and set up a support session, or you can call us at 1-888-570-0475. So until then, happy billing.